Hey y'all, welcome back. We're in the van. We're gonna go take a look at a pretty cool house up on a hill with a pond, well water, and I'm having some kind of unrelated thoughts and feelings that are even more applicable to this channel. So let's talk. I find it increasingly difficult to find anyone even remotely on the same page as I am. I think there's different groups that have people that probably relate to singular aspects of myself, but it's maybe inherently difficult to find all of me in any other person or place. I say inherently because maybe that's mostly just a challenge of labels, right? When we're looking for something, it's easier to look up a label and a singular aspect of something. So maybe they're out there, but how do I find like-minded folks, if only to talk with, commiserate, check our ideas? I've talked a lot about the state of the world here recently. You're aware of my goal to have family, or at least children, or at least a male heir to carry the name and lineage and inheritance. Today I'm feeling a lot of familiar but accentuated fear around partnering in a world where divorce is pretty common, can happen without reason or justification, and where I make more money than my partner or nearly anyone that would be interested. So that means I have no real ultimate control or power over whether or not my partner leaves me. And when they leave me, they get my money, which is my time, my livelihood, my children's livelihood, this lineage which is most important to me. I could try a prenup, and should surely look into that. If anyone's got insight into that, please let me know. And the other option is to just not get married at all. Not getting married certainly limits my options and maybe even some of the stability of a potential home for having children, which again, for me, the entire point of my life is to have good children. I believe the most appropriate singular measure of any person's worth is the quality of their children. The Life Score project extends that out to 2 dimensions. It measures net worth and number of children. It takes the log, base 10 log of your net worth, and it multiplies it by the number of children you have divided by 1 plus the number of children you have. And it works out to a nice curve that describes roughly what I think is the best possible simple qualitative measure for a universal life score. It leaves some things out which are very real to me. Something that's very difficult to describe is the idea of the quality of a child, the quality of a person. We all certainly have some relative sense of higher and lower quality people, and it's cute but obnoxious if you insist that we all behave and produce and result, cause and effect equally. That's absolutely absurd. There's an extreme range of the kinds of contributions and destruction that different individuals leave in their wake. So to simplify, we will say higher and lower quality, better or worse. We might even say simply good or bad. So that one's a little bit difficult to quantify, and then the other dimension that is sort of missing is the sort of survivability. I don't just want children. I really most deeply am in pursuit of the immortality of sentience, and I believe that the best tactic for me in that regard is to pour all of my time and effort and energy into having my own great child. But they then need to sort of carry that torch and pass that on, most likely in the form of having their own children. Of course, if they become some incredible professor or author or inventor or something, then that's great too. But I think the most reliable path is to attempt to become and be and embody a great person, and then have a child and raise them as well as you possibly can, while also, the net worth is sort of a placeholder for power. That sort of begins with robustness and survivability. And one of my biggest concerns is that here in the modern world, we delegate, we rely on a very large system that we don't have much control over as an individual. We delegate a lot of the responsibility of keeping us alive. Right? If suddenly farms stopped working, or the entire electrical grid went down, or databases for all of our financial information got corrupt, any of those sorts of things, most of us don't have a livable amount of precious metal bullion and farming skills and protected land to keep ourselves alive for very long. If civilization crumbled, we rely heavily on each other. And so I know the conversation for us now is back in sort of familiar territory, this sort of apocalyptic society failing doom sort of scenario. But it relates. It relates. If that's what I should be prepared for, then it's absolutely inappropriate for me to have a child in a case that could have split custody with a normal person. And a normal person is going to be feeding them processed foods and putting screens in front of their faces and sending them to schools with a bunch of normies where the things that they value and prefer and get used to are absolutely obnoxious, useless, unproductive wastes of time. Right, to really raise a well-prepared family, well-prepared for catastrophe, would really require getting way out there, really keeping kids away from the abundance of garbage distractions and preferences and addictions that occupy most of our time and energy. So yeah, it's somewhat the usual territory, which is good, staying on theme here. My partner goes away for a month, so I'm going to be without my partner for a little while. I have some space to reflect, to go research properties and land. It feels like there's no way I'm ever going to make enough money fast enough. I struggle with decision making. I've got a land opportunity on the West Coast. I've got this house on a hill with a lake and well water opportunity out here in the Southeast. I've got family property up in the Northeast. And I think that the best suburban, normal traditional normie sort of suburban lifestyle would probably be somewhere in maybe the North Carolina area, to be honest. Very difficult for me to make these decisions, and I really wish there were folks around that I thought had something useful to add. If not only good questions, which I do value with my partner. Great question asker. Very smart, great questions. But it'd be nice if someone had put more time and energy into a lot of these questions I'm struggling to figure out. Yeah. So if you got ideas, if you've got resources, connections, questions, please share. Appreciate you. Talk to you again soon. Bye.